And then me to.
Mark
Are we
Chambers.
gonna be able to move it to
Yes.
your?
So.
Yeah, you'll just mute me
Okay.
and I will mute you.
You know Nikki Foylan, Nikki and Eric Foylan?
No, but it's weird because we have a house in our development. Like,
thing, like if you can hear our noise through the Zoom meeting.
I was a little more convinced than the 2 pages that I had.
Yeah, so that, I don't like the other side.
I don't know if I accidentally deleted it. My printer didn't work. Nothing was working today at my house. Internet right away this morning was out
Yeah, is that
again.
okay? I wasn't sure what to
Stupid
put.
thing.
So.
Cause I don't think she would care. Okay, cause I wasn't sure what, like, I know it used to be like past president, whenever we have someone who'd step off, but they sometimes could still.
Yeah.
Like they could be there for like a mentor.
Yeah.
So we just always would say past president or past
Okay.
vice president. So that's why I was
That
hoping.
makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like, is that okay for her title?
Yeah, we've never had this
So
issue.
that's about.
Right.
I'm sure there's another meeting going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Utilizing the Zoom, but there's no way.
They're not utilizing Zoom. They're not, it's us.
That's not us that on it.
No,
Township.
they actually automatically, have Zoom on, and what happens is their Zoom is on with our Zoom.
I'll look it up.
I know
Rylan
Rylan had to do some stuff last
Rylan had to do
Well, I
something because they were both-
I shared it, or so what I have is what our meeting is for Gold Rush. So they can't hear us. We're good.
Yeah, no. they
There's no
should be-
sound.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to make sure. They
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
hear our
You can just
noise.
hear them.
Okay, good.
It's not.
Talking.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
They could
Yeah,
say,
I'll
is there a camera there?
Yeah, go ahead if you wanna.
If I turn my camera.
Oh,
I'll send that around
gotcha.
to everybody, and then I'll have everybody, update. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, which is talking about the pre-birth.
All right, I'm ready.
You ready, Dana?
I'm just gonna wing it. I don't have the agenda.
All right, ready, guys?
Yeah.
Jim, we're gonna start. I just say Jim once. It's pretty nice. All right. So Ryland is not here. Obviously, he asked me late last night if I would run the meeting. So we'll call the meeting to order. And first thing that we need is motion to approve the agenda from the January 10th meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. We just need a motion to approve the current agenda first. Sorry.
I make a motion to approve the video version agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Now I need a motion to approve the January 10th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 10th minutes.
Second.
I don't think I can look at my own minutes.
Yeah, probably. Really.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Alyssa, treasurer's report.
Excuse me. Brandon asked me to prepare the advertising expenses. for your review.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I probably don't have a copy everywhere. I was trying to get it printed here. and the printer isn't operating, so
Mine
it's
wasn't
early.
here tonight.
But you can maybe. You can share and.
Thank you.
Almost like everything. As long as I can have one to take
Yeah.
for the minute. that would be
Yeah. I can look, share yours if you want.
perfect.
Okay, so the top, the one page sheet is all of the expenses. Just from the 2015 through 2021. So the second line down is the advertising expenses, the totals, and then this sheet is the details of each year, starting back to 2017. And it's still 2015 or 2016.
Thank you.
But we can get that. So it's a little bit small, unfortunately, but it starts with 2017. So you'll see it's a total of 6,412, which matches the line on the total for the 2017. So you can kind of scan through there and get an idea of the things that I classified as advertising. Now, some of the things maybe, might have been promotional items that we gave away and things like that, but there wasn't really a better category. So just so you can kind of see the kinds of things in there throughout the years. I think they're pretty consistent from year to year, the types of things that were classified in there. And I did go through all the other expense accounts and I didn't see anything that I would have moved there. And a lot of the other accounts just have one thing, like there's only one item in striping, one item's in sheriff, one item's in toilets. There's not like a lot of other places that these expenses could have been. So we had 6,400 and then 5,200 in 2018. We got down to 4,300 in 2019. 2020, we didn't really do anything. So we had $600 there. Mostly this to print and a couple of advertising things that were done early on
Before we
before
cancel.
we
Yeah.
knew about the show. And then last year was only 2,300. So I have down for that. Was mostly relied on Facebook advertising and
I think Mel donated some advertising stuff too.
there might have been something on
Yeah.
there.
I think she printed some stuff and donated some stuff.
And we did do some of the yesteryear. From the flea market, the shopper. But that's so small.
Yeah, so the big difference is like back in 2017, 2018, we did a big like airtime on BTTC, I think was
Yeah.
1,600 in 2017. 2018, we did something with iHeartMedia and Minnesota Public Radio. That was almost $1,000 between those two items. And we did some type of Google listing for 400. So it was an area we were trying to look for other ways to cut back. So you have any questions, or think there's things missing.
I think we were just trying to figure out what, like, maybe, and you probably talked with Carol about what do we need to do? You know, like, what's the bare minimum, basically? And then what could we,
Yeah, last year was hard to
well, we didn't have any
We didn't
money to
have
go
any.
off of, so, yeah,
have any money in carryover, so.
right. So we wanted that breakdown, that was helpful. We have this in our further down, yeah, we have this further down. Talk about it, Joanne.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No,
Oh,
that's
you're
fine.
good.
No, it's so helpful, thank you. But I just meant, like, should we tie it in now or should we just wait? That's all I meant.
How about the actual report, the balances?
Yep, so the balances, we have $9,464.03. That's the total between what we have, you know, the 5K and our checking account balance. So I think that's about what we were expecting, on 10 grand kind of reserved, and then some of it's gonna go towards operating expenses before we get deposits in. The city has not cashed the checks. I don't know why that would be. For National Night on 4th of July and Orinoco History Center and the Civil Air Patrol. So we have 4 outstanding donation items,
I'll double check.
reconciling items on the
I'll ask
reconciliation today, so.
I'll ask Geraldine about so hers was National Night Out fireworks.
Yeah, there's 2 checks.
Okay.
1,500 and 3,000.
Okay,
And then, yeah. Civil Air Patrol, I think they don't meet that often or something, they've been slow every year, so that's not surprising to me. And Orinoco History Center is the same way. They're almost always.
okay. Okay. I'll look into that.
And then we did make these donation checks. I think they were issued in January, and we should have thought to say that they needed to be because we have cash basis tax returns. Now it's gonna. I'm not sure. It's gonna look like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fine. No, it's just gonna, if anyone was looking at the 2021 return, it would look like there won't be any donations because I can't report them on the tax return if there was no cash. If we would have written the check in December and mailed it, then it would have been. I didn't think about that until I see it now in January posting, so.
So I would have written the check and dated it like December 31st.
Not if you did it in January, but if you actually did it 12/31 and mailed it out. No, it was actually mailed out.
I didn't get the information until January. So.
That is something we need to remember for next year.
Yes, 2022 will have that.
Well, and usually, like, to be fair, usually we do this whole process in October.
Yeah, no,
This year was just weird, right?
It's
Like,
not gonna be a problem for the return or anything, it's just gonna look a little weird, but
Okay.
it's 2020, it's weird.
everything looks weird,
Everything
yeah.
looks weird, so,
Okay.
I mean, it's not, it's explainable, and I just don't know if I need to make it in there, but it's not gonna be a, I mean, it's not like you have to distribute it by a certain date. or
Right.
anything. Like,
Okay.
for it to, it's just our own reporting, and if someone were to look up that tax return, it would just look strange, but
Got it.
compared to our other years, it probably would look really strange. That's all I have.
The other thing that's on here under treasurer's report was reviewing of payment options for the nonprofits. We're looking at PayPal and check payments.
I would,
Any updates?
actually Melissa did that in January and she found that, I think it was Venmo was the one that had the list. I could be wrong. That's what I remember. It's in my notes. That was the lowest percentage and fees and had the best security as far as payments for the vendors. And so I added that to the contract, actually. You do need to set up an account for that, but it was going to be something where if they were going to do an online, if we were accepting an online payment, then that payment processing fee would be responsible. The responsibility would fall on the vendor or the payee.
So It says on the notes, Venmo not an option at this time.
Okay, then maybe.
It
No notes.
Melissa, but.
says PayPal.
PayPal,
PayPal
there you
is
go.
low considering market standards, 30 cents per transaction plus 2.5% or 2.2% for each dollar.
That was it.
Each dollar. Can return the charge to the customer instead of Gold Rush paying the fee.
Correct. So that was what Melissa had reported in January as being an option that we could offer to our vendors to pay. And that's pretty common. I have the
Mhm.
same thing through PTA and, you know, the person paying the dues, if they want the convenience of having an online payment, then they pay the charge. And usually it's very low, like that, 60 cents to 85 cents. So it's a nice option to get.
And we can, depending how you. We can set it up so they pay on our website. That's
Yeah, we
how-
just have to have a PayPal set up with the correct name that they choose so that we know for sure that they're paying to us, you know, by using that hashtag or $sign or whatever PayPal uses through their app or through their website.
But Joanne would be the one that would need to field all that. So we'd have to kind of sit down with you and figure all of that out.
Sorry, it was online,
PayPal.
online payment versus a check or cash back to you.
So the account would really need to be with you.
I would think it'd actually tied to a bank account.
It'd be tied
So-
to, deposit, a direct deposit to the bank account, and there's rules on when you can disperse that money out of PayPal to the bank account and that kind of thing. I've used PayPal before, so, but it would be something that, yes, you would have to, you know, the person signing up, the vendor that would want to come would determine if they're gonna pay online or if they're gonna pay by check and mail back. And same thing, your PayPal invoice or how you're going to do it would depend on, you would need to collect the information, like the same information you collect with the check back. You'd want to collect that on your online payment too, like your
Mhm.
dealer number and things like that.
Yeah, we'd have to set it up that way.
So,
And when do the contracts go out? End of March,
End of March, early April.
and then they're due by May 16th-ish.
kinda, through August 21st.
Well, that's kind of also nice too, if they come and they don't have a payment, you can take an online payment too.
Mhm.
Do we want to put a motion on the table to open a PayPal account? I mean, are you all feeling like this is a good idea?
I know some vendors commented that they wish they could have paid online.
I have so many people already reaching out weekly to me on the Facebook page. And they're young, and I would assume that that would be how they prefer. I mean, there's people who don't even phone checks anymore. So
Well, and then.
I think it should be an option. I think it would be easy enough for us to figure out with all of us here, and we've all had experience using it. And you've had experience setting it up.
What's nice too is we could also open up a spot that says donations
Mm-hmm.
and put that on the website, put that on the Facebook group
Yeah.
page, you know, put it on our advertisements, you know, with a barcode to scan. And so local businesses or people could just donate to us through that account as well. And if it's as easy as scanning it and sending the money through electronic means, then that might be something that people will donate, you know, even at National Night Out. Maybe we can get people to do that too, is donate on the spot. So I think it'll open up a door for convenience.
I'll
But
make
still offer cash and check for
Yeah.
those who choose. Right.
I'll make a motion to open a PayPal account in the Gold Rush downtown Orinoco Gold Rush Days
Name, yeah.
name with Joanne as the primary, what is it, primary user?
We'll have the email account attached to it and then the Gold Rush account attached for deposit. Deposit only.
Is there a second?
I second it. Unless anybody else wants to.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Give you a minute to type up your
No,
motion.
go for it. I'm just talking. I'll figure it out.
All right. So the next item is the vendor contract language, which Dana and Christine, you both have been working on to review the contract and go over.
Yes, I typed it up and ignore the Venmo word since I can't remember my own notes. I have a couple copies. I didn't make enough, so I just printed it at home since I did it this
Do you
weekend.
have coffee?
So if you guys could share.
Because sometimes you make coffee.
I just have,
So if you want me to report on this.
yes,
Did I cut
please.
you off? I'm sorry. So basically I just updated so everything in red is not going to be in red. It's just to show you what I've updated. So it's easy to view. So I just changed the dates for this year. I changed the setup time to 11 a.m., which is what we voted on last time. I did change it to check or online payment since I was assuming we'd be doing that. And then the dollar amount in the fee for preceding lots, that needs to be voted on tonight, but I did include it just to put it there. If we are going to up it from $100 to $110. Additional lots, I did change a couple words here. It says payment for each lot must be submitted. It kind of was ambiguous the other way. And then lot fees will be returned if unable, because the word that was there was, I think it just said fees. So it was kind of ambiguous on what would be returned. And then I added the 2 spots for options for the vendor. So mail-in check. Oh, I should have probably put cash or mail-in check there. And that kind of was similar to what was in the paragraph above. And then I put second option would be via online payment using Venmo, which I got that wrong, PayPal. And then I just made up a hashtag, $DOGR. We'll probably have to do something a lot different so that the person knows exactly who they're going to be paying online. And then the same thing, we could include a 2D barcode here if we wanted to next to it. I can make one of those easily once we have our link to our PayPal to put it right on there. And then I said vendors are responsible for online payment processing fees. That way they know. And then basically, I changed the event coordinator to Joanne.
Good.
So pretty straightforward, most of it. Some of it needs to be changed and updated, and some still needs to be voted on.
Thank you for doing that, Christine.
And then the other side of it actually is just the mailing side. So this gets folded in half, and I'm guessing taped or stapled and then mailed in the mail. So I just printed off the second page for my copy, but that's kind of what the other side looks like.
So they send this back to us and that's on the back side of this paper, so their map is gone then once we mail it in.
Actually, we have another map that gets in the mailer, and then we also have the terms of agreement that they also will have. So at least this is the way I think it. I don't know if it's 2 separate sheets that get folded and mailed, or if it's everything that gets mailed together. Yeah, so there might be all 5 sheets might get put into here and then mailed. But I was assuming it's a 1-pager, but it could be 2. Because I haven't seen it actually in person yet.
That's everything that was sent.
Yeah.
But is it front and back?
But I have,
Is
yeah,
it
this
front
was,
and ba- It's all just one page, each page, okay,
yeah.
each thing is one page.
Oh, okay, then that's good to know. I wasn't
Okay.
sure.
You know, you have a line in here about separate checks for each lot. And we just collect like 1 check, no matter how many lots they have.
You're requesting. Oh, okay. That was there. A separate payment for each lot was there.
Okay.
What does that mean, do you think?
It just said a separate payment must be submitted. So I just said for each lot, so I could take that out.
Usually we just pay one check for,
Do you think that
All the
means
lots.
like when you show up and you want another lot?
and then know they have to pay for it.
You know, that's weird. That's strange wording.
Yeah.
Should we change it? What would sound better, Joanne? Do we
could just
need
say-
it?
We could just
Usually when
say,
I
if
talk to them beforehand, I'm asking them, you know,
if you are
So does that even need to be there?
oh, you could just say if
Yeah.
you're requesting additional lot.
Right,
yeah. If you're requesting,
Per lot.
yeah,
Mhm.
so if you were requesting additional lots, a payment for each lot must be submitted.
But that makes it sound like.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It was
We-
there. I just added the.
we can just leave it
It's
off.
confusing. Like, what is it?
Should we just leave it off?
Probably, as long as they know it's 110 per lot.
Mhm.
We could always add that.
It is confusing.
So 110 per lot. Okay. Let's fix what's in the box then for that.
And then take that sentence out.
Yeah. I think so. I think that would be good.
And then you have that line, include a stamped envelope for receipt. Maybe put if a receipt is desired.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to remove that from the paragraph. I did put it down in option via mail-in check, and I should have put cash. Include a stamped envelope for receipt. I moved that down there, but I forgot to remove it up
If desired.
there.
Like they don't have to have a receipt, but sure. Is that their only, so their confirmation, they do not get any sort of confirmation?
Do we want to
They
do?
kind of do, because I think yeah, they can if they want one. When we mark their account paid, there is a form that I can print for a receipt.
But we don't want to print anything and send
No,
it.
it's only if they ask for it.
Can
I
it be
don't-
made into a PDF
Yeah.
that we could just email it to them?
That's what I'm thinking. Well, no, if you, yeah, if you
If you
could,
can print
print
it, you
it to
can save as
PDF.
PDF,
Yeah.
and then you could just email that if they provide their email address, which would be
Which we're asking for, right?
Yeah,
super easy. Everyone
it
has
is
email
here.
address.
That's been the tricky part is
Which-
that truly, this is gonna
They
sound
don't?
nuts, but not all of our vendors do.
Right. There'll be some that won't have it.
Yes, there are some,
There's
but,
probably less that don't.
and then also they probably
We,
won't need a
recommend
confirmation
telling
because they've been
check
doing
it.
this forever and they're just gonna show up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like,
And if
for-
they're wanting one, then they would make it known.
But
But there's
for-
gotta be easy
I don't
ways.
know,
that
for
we
me,
can
it's-
do that.
if I was like trekking across the country with all my stuff, I'd want
Yeah,
a confirmation.
But usually if they write a check, they have their check as their proof.
Yeah, but
Done most of the
I
I
don't know.
like to close the loop.
I know, I agree with you. I need someone to tell me like, okay. And maybe that's where we work together to get the email loop, to do the email and then make the vendor group. But not everybody has social media, but
Yeah.
do
But
something.
if I get the email addresses, I can help with some confirmations if you want. I'd be more than happy to help out.
I've also been,
Maybe that's all.
yeah,
You
I do think we should maybe add communication like to vendors, like maybe MailChimp, using MailChimp or something super simple like that. Free version.
Or monkeys or whatever.
The
Yeah,
MailChimp is,
MailChimp, sorry.
yeah, MailChimp is so easy and I've been using it and it's like, it could be up. So I mean, we should maybe put that on our agenda for next month, but I do think we need to close that loop like you just said.
So back to the form. What do we need to vote on? We need to vote on cost.
Now, that's down here further, I think.
It'll be further. So this ends up jumping the gun because I just threw it in there just for ease of
So could we,
making the assumption it would pass tonight.
do we need to vote on this?
I think we need to vote on revisions if we're changing it.
How about when we bring it, it would be too late, Joanne, to change it in March? Could we find,
Okay.
because it
Wouldn't
doesn't,
take
So let's bring it back to the March meeting
with whatever we.
Final,
Final
finalize
copy
and vote,
and
final and
vote.
vote.
Okay,
Mhm.
so then if, yeah, anything that needs to be changed, or if you guys think of anything within the next week or so that needs to be changed, let me know. I'll put it on here and then I'll submit it for review for next month. And it'll be perfect timing because we'll have the meeting in early March and then we'll be able to print it. The final version. That's cool. I like that.
Perfect. All right. Anything else on that?
Not on the
I'm gonna keep us moving. All right, so planning for next year. The agenda says start planning for consolidation of lots. One of the things that I have here is a map that has, it's the entire city. And it shows in yellow all of the streets that will be under construction for the sewer project. So
During gold.
for phase one during Gold Rush. So I feel like we need to very carefully look at this
Yeah.
and think about, is this something that we're going to be able to do? And if we are able to do it, how do we go about it strategically? Because it's a lot. So that being said,
Well, it was in the email, so if you looked at it.
Yeah.
And I think it also depends upon if they're running a schedule too, because you don't know what's going to be happening with weather and
There somewhere we can post it? Is that what you're-
Put it up there.
yeah.
All right.
But, yeah, I mean, you look at the-
Full forest.
I'm sorry, I need more after. Oh, I guess that's- Appreciate that.
Oh, you got one? Okay.
No, this is-
so I know that also jumping down in the agenda to the 5K event, this is, I mean, affects everything. So
I think we can effectively, I think we can just say, we'll put a nice little pause on the 5K for this year. And possibly consider, like, we've talked about this in the past, but like, it doesn't mean we can't hold a Gold Rush 5K, that we would, proceeds would go to us and use the other side of town if that's not being, you know what I mean, at another time.
Yeah.
Not during our event, but, and so we have talked about that in the past, and so there might be a good year to do something like that. You know, end at Tilly's, get an end at Tilly's, or, you know, something goofy like that. So I don't think that, like,
Yeah, we can do it for you like the weekend before.
I mean, yeah, so that's lots of options for that. So I don't think we need to, we won't worry about doing it the weekend of the show. Seeing that. Yes. So,
you know, Minnesota Avenue is fairly left alone, but it's the cross streets that, and we don't know in the middle of Minnesota Avenue in the cross street, what
much they're gonna
kind
bring
of
up. Yeah.
construction is gonna come into that.
And what about the outlets, you know, in terms of
Right.
routing traffic?
And your emergency
gonna
route
be-
and,
Yeah,
They're marked as under construction from what I can see.
yeah, the one
Yeah.
is.
So what they were talking about when I went to the water and sewer meeting on Tuesday night, just to see what was going on, they talked about maybe taking the asphalt and trying to do it, because there was a question of if they were gonna do gravel, or if it was gonna be dirt, or if it was gonna be the asphalt that's gonna be laid down too during that time, because I think that'll make a difference on how you're gonna be able to go through there with traffic.
yeah.
I don't
if it's totally ripped up, I don't know how vendors are gonna feel about bringing in their stuff.
Well, and the other thing that I think of is just people walking. I mean,
Mhm.
just
Liability.
Right.
the liability, and if it's uneven, or
Yeah.
I mean-
it's like strollers and wheelchairs.
I've taken tumbles, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but the majority of our older participants, it's difficult. I mean, it's already difficult with the slope of our land and just getting into lots, and it just makes me concerned.
So we've talked about it in the past, briefly throwing things around. How would you feel about Orinoco Park
Yeah, we did talk about that.
and having a much smaller event? And having, I've talked to vendors about this a long time ago when I first got involved, and their big concern was getting in and getting set up. And
Is there enough?
there's a
electrical
lot, there's a
out
lot,
there, or
huh?
Electricals or enough electrical?
No, and that's the other, yeah, so for food, so everybody else would be fine. You know, nobody really ever requires except our food vendors.
Yeah.
So that would always, that's like the big thing.
Yeah, and would we lose our vendors if we just did a small one and said, okay, we're only gonna take so many food vendors and so many Gold Rush vendors?
I don't know, I mean,
Would we drop people
I don't know, if
rather
we,
than saying, okay, we can't do it because we have this project going?
I think we'd lose more people not doing it personally, because they're gonna get used to, like, in 2020, we didn't have it, and then,
Then they'll go somewhere else and then they'll keep going to that other place.
yes.
But if
Yeah,
it's a really bad experience, that could be
Yeah.
worse for
Yeah.
us
It's a
than,
double-edged sword.
you know, like if it's a super negative experience, that's gonna carry much farther than it's gonna be. When does this project start and when does it end? Do we know? Like, is there like a,
It started already.
like ripping up roads and
No.
stuff?
No,
Not
the
that part of it,
electrical,
no.
right?
So the river started this week,
yeah, and
on
they've
the
been,
north part of the river, so
Yeah.
we're working.
it'll just be bit by bit, but this starts, this, I feel like as soon as they can, right? Like,
As soon as the ground is.
Yeah.
Spring.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere else in town
was
that
my
we
other-
could utilize during this time for this 1 year. And you're saying
What
Minnesota
about
Avenue
over
is
by
not
Tilly's?
ripped up?
I was gonna say, what about Cedar Run? There's 4 over by Gastonville. Not in front of us, but that
Yeah.
one land that's right
Still
there
a
off of
Big, huge
Minnesota.
open
Yeah.
lot, like there's nothing going on there right now.
It's not, it's private property, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking like over behind Tilly's in the park there, that's a
Oh,
huge
Yeah, that's a huge flat and it's
open
flat.
flat
Mhm, it's
lot.
park,
flat.
and it's city.
in its city.
Over
And
by
it's
the
right off
ball
the
fields and
highway.
stuff over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's real flat there.
But what about traffic? Would we have an issue with traffic?
I mean, we'd have to figure it out, just like we do here.
Yeah, Lake Shady, I think is a little straighter than even Minnesota. But, you know.
It'd be worth exploring.
Mhm.
I think it's worth exploring before, and it maybe what it's gonna need to be is like we take some time to explore and then we come back and have in a special meeting before March.
Mhm.
What if we had remote parking and had like a little
Mhm.
shuttle or something like that? You know, if we can find another parking area to move
mean-
everybody in and out and have it just going back and forth.
Our issue is always money, Jim. We have very little. So like a shuttle
did
would
that
be
before,
amazing, but yeah,
And we did that before, and I don't know if they rented or if they just donated.
really?
Like their courtesy vans
Mm.
from one of the car dealers.
I mean, if we could get
The
a
shuttle.
low rate, I love that idea. And can you imagine how many people would take advantage of it? It's always money though. Like it comes down to like, what can we afford?
Who owns the land by Gastonville? Is that Mark King,
I don't think so.
No.
that field?
Okay, well.
No,
so
you know who it
it's-
is?
Field
It
is gonna
goes,
be
okay, so
mine.
it's that weird little triangle
Yeah.
that teen or thing owns that, like, it really tapers off.
Okay.
It's the guy who
It's, I can't even think of his name.
Gauthier.
Thank you.
Oh,
I thought he sold it.
Really?
he did sell it?
I thought he did.
I thought
But
it was for sale.
maybe he only sold Gas and Go.
What about-
I think he.
Yeah, he
sold-
doesn't
I think
own
he
Gas
sold the
and Go,
Gas and
but he
Go.
still, he owns the
He owns the land
land,
still.
but he doesn't own
The-
that chunk of
the
the
actual-
business. From my understanding, but I could be completely wrong. I want to just see here quick. If we
But you're
look at,
saying Minnesota Avenue is gonna be open, like during that whole time. I'm
which,
just thinking if, like during that event,
Everywhere that's yellow is gonna be torn up.
20 years ago too, you know, the city streets in Orinoco weren't paved. So Gold Rush would go on with the gravel roads throughout the whole city.
So we could say we're being retro. This year. That could be our theme. We're bringing back the good old days of Gold Rush.
Right.
so
and Fifth Street,
what are,
way up here, that's.
That's crazy traffic.
so
really-
maybe what we need to do,
No, and that's super fast there. I mean, there's that lot. I think a lot of people park up there across.
you guys, is anything torn up by Memorial Park?
Oh, back there.
Because it might not be any, but,
No,
okay.
I mean, it looks like.
Is it right here?
That's a yellow.
Right here.
That's the ball field.
Wash my face. 'Cause we just-
Memorial Park down through here.
Where's Tilly's?
Right.
You have 52,
By
so.
the river.
What do you call Memorial Park? Is that by Chili's?
Mhm.
The ball field?
Yep, behind Tilly's.
Oh.
Thanks. I don't know the name of anything.
Yeah.
It's on my side.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, across from that, there's a lot that's open and it's kind of a drain field that there is for the septic system, but,
12th
that's
Street
owned
is torn up though. So.
by, no, it's owned by the,
Wait, where?
not Tilly's, it's owned by, Casey's and also
The
by
camper.
the
place?
camper land, you know, but I mean, I think we could
Thank you.
probably,
Is this, where's 12th Street? Is that 12th Street?
Oh,
I
cool.
saw those downstairs and I thought you guys might be interested in seeing that.
Yeah,
Like, see what they did years ago?
I know, and then I forgot that I have two
Oh,
other things. to
yeah, there's
talk
lots
about.
of good, there's lots of good stuff downstairs.
I'm not used to being out.
You guys would know, where's 12th Street over on your side?
Oh, street.
South,
12th
southwest,
Right here.
it's right there.
Well, it's here, but.
But we can't see it on the map.
And then bring it back to you.
yeah,
And
but
scan these in and then bring it back to you.
I know.
I think it must be the
It's
second.
Zumbro Hills, it's Zumbro Hills Drive, so
Yeah,
it's right
if you
here.
go to 12th
So that's
Street,
all yellow.
I mean, that's,
That's gonna be torn up too.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, eventually, well, but they're
No,
gonna be
that
going the
thing-
other way.
No, that same time.
Oh,
It's on here.
Yeah, it was back then.
It's on the map right here.
Yeah.
Next to the ball field.
They're
Yeah.
missing on,
It's maybe not even a snapshot because we're not even
What's
looking
over
at
by
that
the
side.
cemetery? I hate to even ask, but like, what's?
Yeah.
Pretty quiet over there.
Pretty quiet, pretty quiet.
Pretty dead around there.
And
No one's gonna complain at all.
No one
And
will
then you
complain.
would get to work with, your buddy, the cemetery.
Oh, God,
maintenance.
can we not?
Tilford.
He's your buddy. I don't know
Oh,
where you're
really?
from.
That's who runs the cemetery?
All right.
He's does the smiley face on the yard?
Yep.
That is so
He's
strange.
the grave digger.
So back to the agenda.
All right, moving on.
Moving along.
So
So Zumbro Hills will be, or Zumbro Hills / County Road 18 / 12th Street will be
torn up right
torn
by
up
slash
the,
Gold
at the-
Rush.
right
at the
by the
same
field.
time.
Mhm.
So that kind of cuts out Memorial Park.
Oh my gosh.
But
When they do downtown area here, they're gonna do like all of it at one time?
We can't say like this street's gonna be torn up on Tuesday and this street's gonna be torn up the following, 2 weeks later on a Thursday. It's just the construction crew is gonna do what they need to do when they need to do it without.
and they'll stop during the week of Gold Rush if we have it. But
Well, there's other things that they can be doing. They might work on the other side of the freeway if they're doing
Yeah.
it that way, or work on the sewer
But-
plant
but
or
the-
whatever, you don't know.
but the way they leave it
Right.
might not be good for the show.
And they're not gonna do one little piece. Let's say that it's time to tear up roads. They're not gonna just do one little piece. They're gonna do it all and then
They're
move to the
gonna keep
next.
it all at one
yeah.
time when they get done with it
Right.
afterwards, so.
Okay,
We don't know
so-
where they'll
To
do it.
construction.
Right.
So it's possible they may be done with the majority of downtown area by August.
I would say
That's,
no.
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 That was nice
This
to look
is-
at out there.
No.
No.
Wishful
I would say-
thinking, maybe.
When
Okay.
it snows again.
So
Remember?
I'm just brainstorming right now. So there's places we know that aren't gonna be touched, right? Like the park. Which probably isn't gonna work because of parking and it'd be such a beautiful spot, but
What park? The
Orinoco
Orinoco
Park.
Oh,
Yeah,
Orinoco.
it'd be
Getting in and
so,
out.
exactly,
And if there was an emergency. and
exactly. It'd be,
I don't think
you know,
we'd do
I've been to a lot of
More
shows,
than-
but I've been to a lot of shows that are actually done that exact way. And it actually works really nice because nobody drives it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just pedestrians. So it's like,
Oh,
there's a,
Shuttles, you mean?
no.
Taking people in and out?
No, you would park and walk in. Like Elko is exactly like this. It's a smaller area with buildings and parks or buildings and it's like a park, but it's smaller. It's a specific area. Everybody parks, out, which we don't have. I mean, in a different spot. I mean, you could maybe put the first part of it for parking. I don't know. And then you walk in, but there's no driving. There's zero driving allowed.
So then,
But then I'm also thinking, what about,
like a generator or-
I know, and so then back to what you guys were talking about, or somebody mentioned Cedarwood. I mean, we have developments that aren't going to be touched.
Just the walking, the walkways and stuff of what that land is like up there would be just interesting, like behind that Gas and Go.
So next to
like
the
wide
gas and go is this open area here,
And there's
right
multiple
there.
outlets
but
up there.
so there's that and there's that. There's a mound for septic here, but this
We'd
is
have to get it
open and
mowed
this actually has like, it's kind of like, it's not flat, but it's close because they were gonna start development and they didn't. I mean, not that you want to bring it too close to. I don't know if there's enough electrical, to be honest. And parking, I don't think there's, I don't know how
What
that.
if we had it on RV lot?
Yeah.
This is all rough
That would be so easy.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's-
parking is so nice to have it there and then the park across.
You do that anyway, up here.
Like Citadel Memorial and then one of the RV, that would be kind of sweet.
Along one road. and then we have,
Last
like,
year, when
vendors
they
and
didn't have any vehicles or any
Which would be
RVs,
one
it would have
stop.
worked, but
Yeah, now they'll.
where are they gonna put all their,
We can get mowed,
yeah.
Do they have, they still don't have,
but that's not.
They have sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's.
I mean, they're there, but none of them are for sale, so it's weird. So I have friends that are like, we tried to buy them, but they're all like.
Like, who owns that is what we need to know. and what
That's
would-
all frame?
Right,
It's a real land development.
is what we need to know.
Cattlemen's Association.
Yeah, but isn't that got there?
Would they allow?
I don't know, it doesn't say the,
I think it's him.
Because there are some
I could
paved
find out.
walkways through there that are already done. right? I mean, like the roads around that are
Put that out.
done, it's just, it's grass, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Nice,
it's a big hate.
but if we mowed it, it could be walkable
What spot?
and it's flat,
By the gas and go.
the gas
By
and
the
go.
gas,
The only thing that what I would say about it is just security to get in and out for emergencies. There's basically around Gas and Go 2 ways in or 2 ways out. And there's no, I mean, you have to turn around once you get past Gas and Go. You'd have to turn around. You can't
Yeah.
get
no
out.
other outlet other than that. And I don't know about the electrical situation there either. There's not enough, like downtown has a lot of nice poles. I mean, there's a lot of
There's-
poles,
yeah,
and they're
there's
close
some
together.
poles.
I mean, we're lucky if our one doesn't flicker all the time.
I mean, our food vendors are the only ones that need electrical, and so they just have to bring
Our
a gen-
ice machine.
they'd have to bring generators, and it would be loud, and maybe we would, I think, again, if we did this, we'd have to scale down. Anyway,
Then we have like the fire department that does stuff.
Right.
And they donate a lot of money.
yeah.
Churches.
And you don't want to have like two separate areas either. I was thinking, well, what if there's like a food area and like, like we had like just, there's really not space out there for that.
Yeah.
It would definitely.
Well, then it'd be
change
really
the-
hard to get people into two spots,
Totally.
you know, you know.
So do we have to say something like, if full refunds by X time, if like this is, I mean, how do you know?
I mean, I think
if
we're
it's
gonna have to,
happen or not?
we're gonna have to make a call by next month.
Yeah.
To say whether we're
that's-
gonna have it or not.
Oh, before we
And-
send everything.
And that's for also to respect our vendors who can then book
Yes.
something else.
You know,
Hey, I think that if we miss on it, though, I don't know how you're gonna get it back the year after.
I
think
agree with
we've
that.
gotta have
Because the year
something.
we did it, nobody had anything. You know what I mean? So like in
Yeah.
2020, everybody was in the same boat. And I totally agree with you that like we risk losing our vendors to a
I
different
think we
event.
need to have something, it's just how we put it together. the
I
way we
agree.
do it, you know, so.
I
I
agree.
think something like maybe the 5K would be good just to kind of watch that this year, not knowing what and where and everything else that way.
Yeah.
You know, and that type of thing, because we had talked about doing shirts, right, with advertising last month. That people will advertise so we could do the shirts even if you don't have the
Yeah,
5K.
we just do a gold rush.
You know, and do it that way, which will take care of that part behind it, but, you know, with not knowing anything that's open in that, I think it's better just to say no 5K.
Yeah.
Well, what about, so when we're looking at the map, are we seeing, I know there's a lot of yellow and is there like something that we can say, okay, we can still have this many vendors on lots and this many vendors, even if like most of those areas are still torn up? Like, is it something where we can do a smaller show this year, if not just scrap the whole thing? Does that make sense?
If we did, I would want it to all be here in the D.
Yes, in the D lots and and where the fire,
And
the fire
fire,
station
and so
and the
then you
D
could-
and E.
and then-
Could we pull in part of the city park that there is and use that more this year? And then use that and Minnesota Avenue? And have it where it's close enough that people could maybe walk through, because if we go down Second Street, can you get into the park going down there? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Or
Actually, you
can't?
can,
yeah.
you can walk.
Because that
through,
way
you
at
can't drive
least you
through.
have that extra part that would be there and it would still be kind of
So it would
connected
be like
together.
it would be D and E and then Second Street. And
That-
then go towards the park.
Yeah, and then use the park.
Well, not even,
And
The
then
thing
there'd
is,
still be
though-
parking.
Well, I mean,
So-
I'm just trying to get an idea of something that would be.
so
close
I,
and-
Like out, I mean.
Which one?
except Fourth Street, except for this, like, one
Well-
half block entering to the park.
cause
To
that,
get into the park from that way, so that could be like a second.
yeah, but that's perfect.
You needed to
But
walk
this is
from
all
two
kind of-
ways.
I mean, this is all,
But even if it's, like you were saying, even if it's torn up, like what Joanne was saying in the past. It hasn't been, if it's gravel or if it's,
And maybe we, again, like if we were to do it, we'd have to be like really incredibly forthright with like the street walking, strollers, wheelchairs, walkers might not be,
Not accessible.
well, to certain areas. Cause like on Minnesota Avenue, we could have people, like we always do now. I don't know.
And I know getting into the park.
Mhm.
You got a little.
Well, no, I was just trying to think of some way that we can pull it together where you got as much as what you've had in the past. And to use the electricity and everything like you guys had before that way, and then, I mean, just a thought.
I think if we were to go with Minnesota Avenue, right away is on Minnesota Avenue, between here all the way out
was literally like.
all the way out. to
When
County.
Ryland could be more active, there's some questions maybe. You know, I'm picturing a sewage pipe can be 40 inches in diameter and bigger. And it's gonna be stored here, it's gonna be stored there, there's gonna be a truck here, there's gonna be a
Well, it's
backhoe here.
Gonna be sitting right on top of the dirt. Lots of
Exactly.
times they'll
In
put
the
it on
ditches.
risers right
In
next
the
to it.
ditches where we, in the right of ways where we usually have vendors.
Yeah, 'cause
So
they'll dig a
even
trench
though
and
They
this,
put
said
it
they've
on
gotta
the
go
riser.
through every single
yeah,
house.
even though Main
Every
Street isn't,
house.
or Minnesota
Mhm.
Avenue is not torn apart.
Doesn't
Do you
mean
We won't
think-
have
it's a
access to the land, is
disaster.
that what you're saying? Like, we're
Exactly.
not gonna have
It's
access
gonna be
to
a
the
corridor,
lots.
but
Do you think that
going east and west, maybe not.
for you guys, for the two where that were at the, or you guys were all at the last meeting, did they say that? Was that possible that like at this point, the roads would be not just tore up, but there would be material?
Oh,
Well,
Or did they not specify?
no, they didn't say that, but they're also looking for places to store material. They're looking for places to put the pipe
And then put-
in the equipment
Equipment.
as
Yeah,
they
it's-
buy it.
it's
It's, I
They gotta
mean,
have sand, they gotta have pea
Oh,
rock,
it's-
they gotta have crushed rock.
And it's gotta be
Yeah,
right
'cause they're
there.
gonna
Yeah, it's gotta be
They're gonna
fairly,
bring it
gonna
in and
be
dump it so
drilling
they can use
too.
it.
fairly
Because it's a lift,
accessible.
you got lift stations, so they're gonna be drilling through rock, you know, to be able to get to the lift stations and things.
And they have risers that they'll use in places that are sitting along the road. On the street.
And you got water plus that, okay, and electric. Cause
Well-
every house has gotta be hooked up to electric to have a little.
What
pump
about,
station.
And the other thing that as you talk about grinder stations,
Yeah.
right in Minnesota, right in the park are 2 grinder service.
Oh, yeah, those buildings.
Here's one, and this is the line going to. So I don't know if that's gonna be torn up.
Mhm.
And I don't know what.
what about,
And then could we borrow space from them, like another town, just for, can they host us for one
God,
year? I
you
mean,
seriously, that might not be a bad idea.
I was just throwing it out there, but I'm like going another city that's, I can't see
We're
anywhere
part of-
else other than.
We're
not
part
being
of their chamber,
Right,
where they have that amazing park.
They have a really nice park by the school.
They wouldn't probably mind the
too.
business.
mhm.
just for this year, saying like, we're gonna.
We
we're
could
gonna
approach their city council and ask.
Just pair up, just because we've got this going on, but we don't wanna cancel the event. I mean, it's not much farther, like I know a lot of Pine Island people come here. I
Oh,
mean, The
yeah,
Pine Island sign is like literally
I know.
Right there.
I mean, so I'm wondering if we couldn't
Gosh,
just,
that might
have 'em
be
host
something we
us
have
for a
to
year.
think about. When's I think their council meeting the
Cheese
same night as
Fest?
ours.
and
Cheese
when-
Fest is the
Cheese
first weekend in
early.
June.
Which I gotta remember this year.
so we're not doubling up, being an inconvenience. It's like at the end of the summer. I mean,
Can
maybe it could just
someone-
be a.
Looking,
Their school starts pretty close to around that week after, but I don't think there's gonna be anything major. Like I said, I just was throwing it out there, kind of like, I don't see any other spot in our city.
I know.
Or, well, is there any, no place in the township? that would be
Dang.
diverse?
same night, same time.
When is-
There's,
There's
council
meeting.
that's,
Night?
yeah, tomorrow night. Same as ours.
Well,
But
but we could ask, I mean, we could ask them and have them put it on the March agenda and at least get an idea.
that would be after our meeting.
But at least we'll have an idea if they,
Yeah, just throw it
if
out
they're
there, see if
interested.
They would even
What
bite
about the
on it, if
elk
not,
Yeah.
we know.
Hmm?
we
What
can't.
about the elk farm?
What?
That's
The elk farm.
Oh, but it's-
land.
That's Indian.
When it's
reservation.
Indian
that
stuff, you
Prairie-
have to
but
find out
Prairie-
if you get into it.
Prairie Island,
Treasure Island water.
Prairie Island, it's
That's
no,
what
well,
we
it's the
do.
Prairie Island Indian Community. They're very, that's an idea. That's an idea, because they're very wanting to work with us, and they can't do anything with that land right now, because it's tied up in like
No.
federal courts. And they're so kind and they always invite us to everything. So that would not be a bad idea. I don't know what it's like up there as far as walking or electricity. I mean,
I'm guessing there's nothing there.
it would be really primitive and it wouldn't be very secure and there's no lights.
There wouldn't be
and-
any electric or
Yeah.
anything if there is that way. And I don't know how important that is. I'm just, mentioning. That's a great idea.
What about
Yeah.
this elementary school?
Where,
Pine Island Elementary School.
yeah,
that's out.
well, the elementary or the, slash. That has a little bit.
Where's that at in Pine Island?
Elementary school is out.
Timbuktu.
If you
I
take
don't know, I like with the back way.
The bridge that goes nowhere.
the bridge that goes nowhere,
Left-handed bridge
the-
goes
the
somewhere.
that's
the
it.
wrong way
Yeah.
bridge to nowhere, it goes there.
Yeah,
It's like,
it
it
goes there.
goes there.
Good point.
Oh, yeah.
I think I think had you guys, Christine, that's early. I think we approached Pine Island because if they have that, they have such an amazing park. And again, it would have to be much smaller. And our towns, here's the other issue, Jim. I don't know if you're aware of this, but
Northwest
Orinoco, Gold Rush is almost like two shows. So it's the people who host vendors on their own property. And those vendors don't pay us at all. They don't pay the city. They just pay the homeowners to be there.
Oh. okay,
So it's like
okay.
they're having a garage sale in somebody's yard. I mean,
Okay.
not a garage sale, nicer things,
Yeah,
obviously,
okay.
but none of that proceed goes to us. It just goes to the vendor or to the homeowners.
Mhm.
So like our show has, the numbers that we have here aren't everybody because we only track our vendors that pay us and that rent from us. So like the other people, it looks
Bigger.
bigger than it is.
Yeah.
And it always has looked bigger than it.
I mean, the video you guys.
Their
have
homeowner
online
pays like
was
a
pretty
tiny
good on showing
20
what
bucks,
was
25
going
bucks,
on.
yeah.
It was a really good idea.
And charges them.
They had a video that there was online that kind of showed everything, okay, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
On explaining what was really going
Yeah,
on.
And so, but when you look at that, it isn't quite
It's not
the
as
whole,
extensive
it's
as
not the
what
whole,
we're-
it's not the whole story. Like,
Okay.
so if we just, so the really tough thing is, I think we would have to like let our, because a lot of our homeowners pay their taxes with that money, or, you know what I mean? Or they, because they either rent it to vendors or they have people park.
Mhm.
And so I do think that that's one thing, if we did move it this year or whatever, we would have, I would want to be forthright with them saying that this isn't something we're gonna be able to do. We want to give you a heads up.
So,
I'll reach out. I can. reach
Dana,
out
you
to
wanna
City
take that?
Coun- Pine Island City Council.
okay.
And
What
ask-
about
Thanks,
if-
Tim.
okay, what about for the next sewer meeting? If we can talk to them a little bit more and see if they can't start like over by the park area and work off of that lift area, maybe have the park done or something like, I don't know if it's.
I don't think we can,
Talk to Joe about that.
no, I don't think there's any way, shape or form that they're gonna say, yeah, we'll work in order that works best for Gold Rush.
No,
So,
I've gotten that impression too.
no, I don't think it's even,
What is that part?
No, the wheels are already in motion.
No.
They've been, trying to put this together
Yeah.
for what, 10 years? so.
yeah. And from the engineering purposes, they're not gonna,
Well, there's weather and there's, I mean,
Yeah, that's. a big
and we
thing.
also don't want our community to feel like Gold Rush is slowing progress down on a project that
They're
time is
paying
money.
for it.
We're
Yeah.
paying for this, so we
Yeah.
need to be respectful of that, I think,
I
too.
like this idea of asking Pine Island, and you know what, if it doesn't work, there's maybe property we could ask in North Rochester too. And there's other things we can do to make this possible. We can make it a smaller show, we could make it I don't know. And then honestly, we would probably want to say, we're gonna need this many vendors
To make it.
to make
happen.
it work. We need this many people committing, because there are some vendors I know will do it, and then there are some vendors that would be like, I just can't risk it, packing all that up to not know. I do think bringing it to a brand new community could be really cool, because it would probably bring out a lot of people that, introduce a lot more people, and it's just 4 miles up the road from where it already is. So
Well, chances, I mean, there aren't any hotels in Pine Island though. I was gonna say chances are, where are they staying? Probably Northwest Rochester,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Pretty much same.
I mean,
for
it's
us.
so quick.
5 minutes
Yeah,
more.
it's such a great, it's a great alternative. We should really look into it. I'll look into it.
Okay, so Dana's gonna look into it. Pine Island.
Yep.
See if there's any locations. All right. So
Good
the,
discussion.
Yeah, the next item is succession planning.
I
We
forgot
talked
to-
about it.
I forgot to add my last two things for the packet.
Oh.
It's my fault. I did do a mock-up of the parking permit.
Oh, good.
So
That looks
I made
good.
it a half sheet.
Mhm.
I don't know if that helps or not, but I can pass around the half sheet. And then if you guys want to look at the full. Also, I did print it in black and white. If we don't want to print in color, that's fine. But I did print it in black and white as well. If I don't know what we were supposed to have on the parking permit, so I did dealer name, dealer ID, and phone number. It could be different. The minor can be bigger or smaller. We can move things around. But this is what they would put on their dash.
I think it looks pretty good.
I like the dealer cell phone number just in case there's something issue with the
Yes.
car, it's parked in the wrong
We've had
spot.
that
Yes.
and then
We would like to have that. to be able to get a hold of that.
We could just print it on yellow paper, black copy.
Exactly.
I mean,
And I
like
can
easy.
change
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
change these things. This is just the yellow printed in grayscale. I
Yeah.
can make the gray look nicer. So I kind of thought that might be nice and it'll print out really nicely. I can do the slicing. We don't have to pay, I can slice them in half.
Well,
So-
and we have, the city has a big slicer.
Okay, and then same thing with cardstock, we can get it pretty cheap if you wanna do cardstock instead of paper, but this is just an idea for us to have that we give to everybody,
In the packet?
yeah. Would it be mailed, or, cause see, I wasn't sure if you did it, see, I didn't know what you did for the mailing, like, if you did.
That's an extra one.
Yeah, we definitely have to have extras. And
Yeah.
booth.
So.
Yeah, if they forgot it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot
'cause
of
I mean,
people.
it's like,
I mean, a lot of people do bring their packet, but there are people who do forget.
Well, and then if they come in.
or somebody comes in and if they register, right on that to do it.
This was
I
just
think
kind of
it's
a
great with the dealer cell phone number, I agree with that.
in case they don't write legibly,
Mhm.
for all of it, or can't fit it. But like I said, I can make things different, so like if we need something bigger on there or smaller, I'm fine. I just threw this
Right size.
together
I think it
last
looks
minute
good.
really quickly, so it's just, I want to make it clean lines and just fold. And then this too, I can make this form where this can be blank, like going forward, so it's real easy to pop in the date. Because I did a lot of text boxes, and so
Okay, and
I can make the
perfect.
file easy to use for anybody to going forward.
Good.
And then the other thing, I was gone last time, so we already reviewed the language, we already voted on all that, it was done, right? It's
For
finalized.
the terms of agreement, I have the terms of agreement fully typed up with no other changes. The only thing I did change, which was asked of me to change, was that the vendors will be setting up at 11 a.m. So that was the one change I did make. And
That was already voted on?
Mhm.
that was voted on last week.
Okay.
right?
Last
Or
month,
last month,
yep.
I'm sorry.
Okay, perfect.
So basically, that was all I did to change this form from the last time we went over it. But if there is any changes on it.
Okay.
And it is a two-sider, which we have,
We wanted,
and I could space it differently too. We have like terms, the one side is vendor info, so I can always make it a little bigger to fill out the page. And I have page 1 of 2, so they know it's 2 pages.
mhm.
And then on the second page is setup, tear down, parking, information booth, weather, and then our disclaimer. So it's a two-sider, which we can mail out one sheet of paper then.
That's great.
I think we should, you know what, I think we should put somewhere on here, bring this with you. I mean, we'll have it on the website, we always put all this on the website, but
I
we
could
should
add
bring this
that.
with you.
Please retain your
Remember to bring this with you.
vendor packet and bring it with you to the show or something.
So that goes with this, which would go with this, which gets folded in half and gets
With the
all
map.
sent out with
With
the
also
map.
map.
Super picky, just a question, does all the font match? Like, does
I
it
did not
all,
match
like,
I did not
look
match
like
all the
it
font.
is a package?
I just made this as poster board looking as possible with
Okay.
using the.
I like that idea, though.
It just looks like it's all part of something, if
Yeah.
all the font.
Right
like, just
now,
pick
I don't
something And just.
Like even
That'd be helpful,
the
but-
contract has 3 different fonts in it already that.
I know.
Which I left, even though it hurt me.
No,
left
I
it.
think
We
clean it.
should unify. and
Yeah,
pick
clean it up.
one.
I
that
would
we're
be
gonna
happy.
do.
That would tick my boxes if I can unify.
Check it, check
Yeah.
that box.
Okay, do it.
It just, I think I used, I don't even know what I used.
Yeah,
So
but this one's
Christine, you'll
totally
take-
different, though.
You're gonna take all of the documents, match all the fonts.
Oh, it's my branding.
Oh.
And then
And-
have it ready, and then once we figure out our map.
That
that we
just
wanna
flows
have,
better than,
Yeah.
Our location.
Yeah, that'll
Once we have our final map, I can make
easier to look
a
at.
half sheet of that too, or whatever we wanna do. I'll look at, Joanne sent me that too, and I think I don't remember if it's a full page or half page map, but I could look at that too and make that look nice, but
Yeah, perfect.
yeah, and I don't know.
This one's tough on the fonts, I think. to get how many
No.
times once- Unless you kind of do this.
This
because
one, I
it's
you
use the
guys
same
too,
font for this
snap a
whole page.
Is it on here?
It's my
know.
go-to poster font that I use.
If I
Because
tell you
Rochester's
what's on the
already got this one.
website, I mean, like, we could just, you could even just look what's on the website and use something similar to that, but. Oh my God.
I don't know, I can get lost in font options online because I
This
love
is how they
fonts, so.
advertise.
All right, I'm gonna keep moving.
Okay,
Yeah, which
good,
one we
thank you.
have?
So-
Sorry, I missed
so-
that part.
That's okay. So succession planning, I don't really know why we're bringing this back.
And Melissa's not, I don't know either, and Melissa's not here.
It
So,
was something Melissa, she went through with Joanne, and they were gonna narrow down a couple of the last spots,
This
but
is this way.
that's all I, but
What do you need?
The website.
we can do it next month when Melissa's
I-
here.
You remember,
she,
Joanne?
she basically just says we'll not be there next month, but we'll get a list to look over prior to the meeting. I think I don't think we need to discuss it. If we need to bring it back, we can.
I'm just
that's
gonna
okay.
double check that she didn't send me. Don't see it. Sorry, guys. I keep
Oh,
doing
I'm
that.
assisting one of my.
Super excited about bringing it back.
To Kristen to assist.
She might
With
have.
ice. Is that what
Ice.
I'm assisting?
I
with?
think you just said you spoke up and added that Dana and she met and have been working on where and how to begin social media and advertising. So I think it just,
Oh,
I
was
think he
talking about
just wrote-
succession planning, where
Yeah.
it said like,
that you
I
can
can
help
help.
out.
What's the vision, what's the
what am I
the
helping with?
theme, marketing, and what's the,
So your comment about the font is appropriate for
Yes.
for what you
So-
what you volunteered to help.
how do we want to present ourselves? I remember you saying.
Yes.
How do we?
Yes, I was just thinking that this was the succession planning and I can, yes, I can.
I left it off the notes, but you said I'm your girl.
Yeah.
Yes. I can help with.
Yes.
I think you should let that in there.
Yep.
But I did. Yeah.
Okay. Social media promotion, website coordinator status, update Dana and Kristen.
We met and we went through over some things and we're still in the process of discussing. Currently, all I'm doing is, I mean, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but I'm planning out about a month ahead of time. I'm scheduling posts and throwing them out there. That's all I usually do this time of year besides planning the 5K. I'm happy to not be doing that. So I'm happy to just continue this. Kristen and I just kind of have to figure out where to. And as we go on, we'll promote and we're not going to do any paid anything at this point, of course. So
Mhm.
we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Chris is going to jump in and learn and help too.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
nothing.
that it's all looks really good.
Nothing
everything
new to
up there
add
looks
there,
good.
unless anybody has any ideas, you can always shoot them, please.
Well,
Shoot,
People are
please.
commenting
and I-
already and like getting excited
Yeah,
about it. And
they've
so I
been-
mean, that's
I know.
where if we're gonna make a change.
I
to,
know,
like,
I
get
know.
Either a location change or start saying like, we're putting our heads together, we're making lemonade out of lemons type of.
And a lot of our
scenario.
vendors, a lot of our long-term vendors, we had conversations with last year
Mhm.
about what was to come, so it won't be a complete shock.
Yeah.
I don't know, you've probably had conversations with people, maybe not yet.
I just had conversations with mostly new people coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of people
Yeah.
messaging me.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
the group.
It's good.
It is,
That kind of ties into the hard print advertising.
it's just all gotta wait.
Yeah, we looked at the report from Alyssa.
That's so helpful. Thank you,
Mhm.
Alyssa. That's
Mhm.
incredibly helpful. So I think we just go from there once we know, once we know where
Once
we're
we know
going.
what the plan is.
Do we know timeline? I don't know. That's not something.
When
Oh,
we started
we do the
advertising, we do-
transaction.
Yeah,
March. Nice.
Which is
Okay.
what I was curious to know about putting together like an advertising plan or a strategic plan and where we're going. A lot of these have online presence as well, which would be a great idea. The other question I have is there's a subscription fee to have this each month and there's a subscription fee to have this. It's very small, but I'm like, if that's just something we need to be aware of, do we need to be getting these? I think that we do, but they're like $20 each to be getting them, which is, $40 for the year isn't a huge deal. But that is when we don't have a lot to be working with, just to be aware that someone must have signed up to get these somehow.
Yeah.
And then just, it's interesting to know where we have also been advertising and what the size was. Some of these prices are, I know we've been taking out a fourth page, but just when do we need to start doing that and how often? And the runtime, I'm curious to know who has our ads. Who have we worked with before, like who's holding the artwork for that? Do we know?
I've helped, if I look through here,
But maybe at this point, it doesn't matter because we don't even know what we're doing with it. So why waste the time and spin our wheels if we don't even know we're gonna have it?
There's another one that came in the mail. So.
Thanks.
I've only worked with Rochester Magazine. My friend Lisa that is.
The downstairs in the filing cabinet, I think there's a whole section on advertising.
And I think a majority of it, Carol would just send in, or they already had the logo and then they would just create
They
a
would do like
copy.
an in-house thing, because if we had something ready, that would be a discount too. Like if we just had something like ready to go and they wouldn't have to work on it, then we would save.
Already.
And then
Right.
we control what it looks
Right.
like. That would be nice. I mean, which you would be the person again.
I mean, it's the sizing is it'll tell you exactly what the size is, or if we had someone that would just be like willing to get it for us, that we can keep it, that would be helpful, because we're not paying a designer to do anything.
Right.
I'm still,
Yeah, if we do it, it would be better it would be nice to have that, a marketing package, like to develop that. That would be really nice to just have. So that it'd be so much easier then.
So the line that says budget amount and coordinator.
Do we need, well,
I feel like at this point, do we just take a pause on all of the above? I mean, I kind of feel like I would like to nominate you to be the coordinator.
yeah, I can totally do
Miss
that.
advertising.
But I think for right now, yeah, it'd be, because I was looking back at when things were ran last year, and a lot of it didn't start running until like June, July, and we did a hard like push on
Yeah.
Facebook, social stuff, like about a couple weeks before the event. But then vendors, do we need to do a vendor push? I mean, is that like something that we would be doing right after we know if it's gonna go?
Yep. Yes.
So it's like looking at that at different angles and.
I think the vendor push is good to get that earlier, because they have to, make their arrangements and where they're gonna go and that type of stuff. So I think that needs to be done sooner than the push for the people to come. So I think you're right on with that.
Lizzie said like 30 days before the show. It's really when you want to do like the big push
For the people.
for audience.
For your
Right.
clientele,
Your
your
clients,
audience, sure, your shoppers, but like this stuff, I feel like this is where a lot of the vendors are looking
Yeah.
They
rather
are.
than our shoppers. I mean, so that's where, and I was gonna reach out to Walnut, Iowa, to see like what's their reach? I mean, there was stuff that we did that was in Wisconsin that doesn't even. I'm just wondering where did we spend the money and what was the.
Can you call the Chamber of Commerce from Walnut?
So
Well, it's
it's
with-
really, it's strange. Walnut, they
Because
just
I know
changed.
downtown, I've been to Walnut, so. I
So
know.
it just changed. Their show is like one of the only other shows like ours in the country, where it's run by the city, put on by the city, and the profits go to the city. It's one of the only ones. Almost every other show in the country is for profit. Somebody's making money. It's a corporation. I spent a long time on the phone with the mayor, who is also the showrunner last year. And this whole time we were thinking it was so much like our show, and it's not. He pays himself a lot of money. He pays everybody, I mean, it's like very different than how we run our show as far as money.
Then they must be doing okay, right?
I was like, that's
mean,
why I'm
that's-
curious to know
it's-
how they're
they
bringing
all-
that in.
they
Who
have-
are they
because
advertising
They
with? How
have
are they-
this, there's a pure show. He will only accept antiques. He will not accept anything else. So you have to submit pictures and display pictures of everything. And you have to be, it is like, you are seriously vetted. And it's just one of these shows that's been happening for so long that it's mostly, I think, word of mouth and everything. There's
How much
a
are they
group,
paying for a spot?
I don't know, a new group took over. The website has completely changed.
Mhm.
You and I were looking
Yeah.
at that.
Very similar to
It'd be
ours,
interesting to
actually.
call and see what they're doing and if they're gonna change it or not. It's a group, like a city group, kind of like if it were it would be almost like if our historical society took
Right.
it over. It's almost like
Hmm.
that's what is taking it over in Walnut. So
I can definitely call and
Yeah.
inquire and just say like, I'm new. And just
they were
like,
so
hey,
he was very helpful and
Curious.
I took notes and notes and notes and talked to him for a very long time. But yeah, it's
I mean, their show was before ours, and so I'm even thinking if we could
send some of our
piggyback on their show and to say, hey, ours is coming up in 2 months. If that happens, you know.
And
I
I've
can
done
do it in
that
person.
in the past, like if I've gone to shows like Junk Bonanza or and I leave our cards everywhere. And
Yeah.
I do the same with Elko, and we send our cards, we send stuff to different, Melissa did a ton throughout Stillwater last year in Hudson area.
Yeah.
And some of our vendors request cards, and so we've sent
Okay.
them and they bring them to their shows.
Oh, awesome.
But to that same thing, creating a marketing package that we can
Mhm.
send to our vendors saying, here's all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Print it off, email share it on Facebook. All of that is like something that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's something I did do when people would reach out. I would say, hey, thanks for coming. If you want to share this. And I created this, like, I'm a vendor at Gold Rush, and I
Yeah.
sent them that. I didn't do it for everybody, but we certainly could in our
Email addresses.
confirmation. In our
Yeah.
confirmation, here's your
Vendor packet,
vendor packet and
like
and
advertising. packet.
advertising.
So I'm sure they might be curious too, like how's the word getting out?
A
Like
lot
how,
of and a
what
lot of
am I?
and a lot of
setting
other
up for?
shows are doing that. Again, a lot of other shows they've got big bucks. They've got big deep pockets. We have to be more creative.
All right,
So we'll table that for now.
away from creativity onto bylaws. So, start to
Oh.
review bylaw contract, update vendor, set up starting time to 11 a.m. on
Yeah, we were gonna look at, we were gonna look
Thursday.
at, see if it's in the bylaws and if we have to update it. And I never looked at that either, but Rylan was gonna do that as well.
But did you
Just
put
start
that
timing
on
the
here?
bylaws.
Yeah,
You
we
did it
weren't
on
sure if
here?
it was even in the bylaws. Okay,
You did it on here though.
yeah, that's on the contract.
On the contract.
But yeah, I didn't even look at that. I know.
I don't know
Rylan's
where the
gonna-
bylaws are.
Nope.
Didn't we get that? in
I
an
think he
email?
emailed it to us a couple months ago.
It's been a while.
November.
Yeah, we do have it.
I think November-ish.
Oh, November annual meeting. Are they still okay?
Oh, yeah, we wanted to see, yeah. Well, we also wanted to establish, what I had asked is, do we have an actual month that we review annually? The bylaws that doesn't cut it too close to when it has to be approved. So that was another question I posed in January. Was we should be looking at the bylaws every year. You know, just, you always have an annual review of.
I think that he's saying that at that November meeting is when that annual review takes place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that okay, or were we gonna move it? I can't remember.
I think for me, I think it's fine because it's
The slow time.
it's slower. It's a couple months after we've had
Mhm.
time to kind of
Process everything else.
yeah
and-
Mhm.
decompress, and then if there are changes, it's kind of that ramp up to the changes.
There's nothing in the bylaws about time.
Good.
I'm just reading them right now.
Good.
Oh,
I
good.
didn't, yeah, I didn't look at them. I
Okay,
looked
that
at them,
solves
but I
that.
didn't.
So we can just review them in next
I
November.
think that was the only thing holding us back from even though we approved the 11 o'clock, we just were afraid that we would maybe have to change the bylaws.
Okay. 5K coordinator. So I think during the whole meeting, we've kind of established that we should cancel 5K plans during Gold Rush this year. I like Dana's idea of even saying we don't have to do it in August, but maybe we can do it in October. I mean,
Mhm.
we can still keep it on the table as an idea to raise money. But it doesn't have to revolve around Gold Rush this year. Everyone's
I think
okay with
it'd be
that.
Smarter just. for
Okay.
this,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as happy with like a
Um,
movie night with, we've set up vendors for like popcorn and stuff if we wanted to like this year, but.
So the Anderson payment for the $600, we will not be paying that. And then with the 5K budget, do we need to just do anything with that? Hold it, keep it where it is?
All that's happening with it right now is on a separate tab in our checkbook. So what we did before is we just moved the balance back to our checkbook. So then I don't really have a separate account.
Okay.
It's not really an account.
It's
at
just-
the bank. It's just tracking. it.
Okay,
It's just a
perfect.
budget line.
Okay. Nonprofit collection agency update by Dana and Christine. Net giver website for nonprofits.
Oh, we will not. I'm not worried about that right
My
now.
name on here.
You're not.
I have one question on this whole
Like,
thing.
this is new for me.
You know, you were gonna
I was
raise,
on the website before, but now. Sorry.
gonna raise the rate to $110. Why not do 125?
Because our vendors would lose their mind.
Would they really?
We're slowly.
Okay, I'm
They'll,
asking,
they'll,
I mean,
they're,
that was,
they're still gonna be mad about 110.
wow, okay. You know, I'm looking at
And we-
inflation and I'm going, what's the
I-
difference? 110,
Yeah.
125?
I
you know?
agree,
I'd
but
like to know what the
Slowly.
history.
No, I just, I
Where
gotta
they
ask,
started.
okay? I'm just
it's a
looking,
good
okay.
question, but yeah, you'll, I mean, I've done enough interviews and talked to enough people that, I mean, I
Okay,
had
that
people
was-
this past year that were saying that's too much money to spend. So it's, some people totally agree with you and some, which is, I do, but, and then lots of our vendors do not,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I gotta ask,
I do think, though, I do wonder about the $110 with everything changing this year. Now I'm like freaked out about it a little bit.
But like everything else has increased though, like
I
even if we
know.
would need electrical, I mean, it's a $10
that's
difference.
what
I mean, it's
thought
a
the
very easy
125
thing to
is,
say,
isn't it?
oh my goodness, our toilets alone went, it doubled in price almost, you know, like. If you wanna pee, we're gonna, you know, like,
Charge you
sorry,
$1.
we're gonna charge you a little extra, you
Put the
know,
change in to get in.
you know, or you
okay.
get a bucket, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So
But
I hate to stop your conversation, but I just want to make sure that we don't need to do anything with line N.
No,
Okay.
we will, this was just an idea for people to donate money
Okay.
easily, and I'm not gonna worry about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this off, taking it off.
Okay,
Everything-
lot statistics, vendor count, 200 vendors is just written on here.
I think that had to do with, we were thinking 200 if, with the construction.
With construction to lower it down.
Instead of the 300
Mm.
and something. we had last year.
How about car show update? We want to just,
Jim is,
yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about the car show people wanting to drive through those streets?
You know, I
Oh,
think-
be a
I
monster
think
truck
it's a
show.
shitty deal.
Yeah, I think
I'll
it should
bunch
be
it too.
just the show if you're gonna do it without a drive-through.
Right.
Okay, and I also have an idea of doing a Model A club because I've got a Model A also, and there's a club that's around here. That if it's going with antiques and that type of stuff, that might also fit in to have something that would be that part as well. It was just a thought, you know. and
What's your, Pine Island's pretty active with the classic cars.
Mhm.
Yeah, in fact, when we had our car show
They had a
here last,
tractor one,
we went right to Pine Island to their car show.
but they had a tractor one that same day. They had a
Same day.
Tractor drive.
Yep, the tractors were earlier than the car show
Yeah.
was like.
They
after.
came on the other side. They were on the west side of 52 though. They never
Correct.
came, but I had somebody contact me about that.
So they had an awesome car show.
So I mean, that's interesting because maybe we.
Well, my wheels are
Well, I
spinning.
mean,
but-
and I belong to Stewie's Cruisers, okay, because I also have those type of cars as well as the Model A, so I kind of go in between on different things. so.
Well, do you wonder if we could do, I don't know if they're ever together, but like a classic car show / 5K fundraiser for our show at the same time? I don't know if that really
I
would
think
work.
you gotta, like you guys already talked about, trying to reach out to Pine Island and see what their thought is before we go too much.
should I include the car show in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay,
Combine it.
okay.
Mhm.
I didn't think
Because I
about,
talked to Stewie's Cruisers about it, and they said that as an organized event, no, but they said that they'd be open if we wanted to put flyers and talk to the guys at Stewie's to come out for that they would be open to do that. So all we need to do is come up with a little flyer or whatever, but I approached that already, but I haven't done the Model A Club. I
How
was
big
gonna
is the
do that
Model
next
A
month.
club?
Huh?
How many Model A's are there? Approximately.
Maybe 25.
Okay. I mean, me personally, I like a little bit of everything, but you know, it depends on where this works this year. If we
Yeah,
got
yeah, I mean, again, it was just one of those ideas that I kind of had, and I thought since antiques and that type of a thing, that maybe the Model A's might be of interest to some
Mhm.
people to see that too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good. All right,
That's all I got.
that's all we got.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes.
yes,
On the terms of the agreement and the contract. In the last month, regarding the cancellation policy, we crossed it out in the terms of agreement, and we said it was gonna be moved to the contract. But I didn't see it in the contract.
Actually, no, you're right. We did, and I thought it was already in the contract, but it's not.
good catch, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, so we need to cancel, so move. Cancellation. I know we had pricing on the terms of agreement that we removed, but I didn't realize about the okay. So move the cancellation to the contract. I'll look at the old terms. So that'll be another item that I'll move onto this page too. Maybe underneath the payment area. But above the,
So my question to everybody too is like, if there's any, or just let's, if there's any other brainstorm about this before I talk, I mean, I will talk to Pine Island, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page that we really would prefer to move forward with the show in a different location if possible. And then that will be like our general approach to this if people are asking,
Mhm.
and just make sure we're all on the same page. And if towns, you know, and that I do think Jim had a good point about the fire department. I might talk to them about this. I wouldn't want them. I would maybe wonder if we could still have them set up at the pavilion there or something like that to sell, you know what I mean, in a
Yeah.
smaller,
For
Yep.
sure.
just to somehow get them still involved.
Because you're looking for volunteers over there. And for the fire department and for first responders, they're looking for volunteers and to increase their people. So if they were over there, I think it'd be a good place for them.
They have
you-
their own fire department, but yeah.
I
Did
mean,
the fire department already, you mean as far as doing it, did the fire department have something during National Night Out at the park?
Well,
Here.
National Night Out was
Here
here, they had it,
last
which I'm wondering.
No, but I mean,
now.
when we were at the park for National Night Out before, did they ever have anything there?
Yeah, they have like the
The
fire
food
trucks
was
there
there
and you can spray the whole. like,
Okay. No, I just wasn't sure if they did, what kind of setup they did, if they had like anything for cooking or, you know, just different things.
They
I've
have a-
not been
they-
to a National Night Out
They have a lot of stuff.
other than last year's.
Yeah, I think that
We're also out of
I
town.
just wanted to say, I think actually would have probably been a good thing for Jim to talk to them about tonight, but it wasn't on their agenda, but just to bring it to their attention, I want to bring it to their attention and be fair with them, and because it is a huge fundraiser for them. And so the fact that we're not having it, I just want them to know that we're keeping you in our sights and we wouldn't like just drop you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
National
things,
Night Out comes up
it's,
too, like if
yeah, but it's things like fire, it's VFW, Lions, all of those. I mean, pancake breakfast, but they can do things like that. They can get a tent. I mean, I've been to several pancake breakfasts that they have griddles and tent outside, and maybe it's not the same
Yeah.
as it normally is,
Okay.
but it can be
That's what I
done.
was wondering if they could
We
travel.
have to
Right.
step outside of the comfort zone of what we know and what we've known for all these years and say, we can do this, but we need a location.
Mhm.
And once we have a location, then we can start working.
I'd like to just follow up with that. I would think we would need to investigate and exhaust all other outlying areas.
Mhm.
You know, like you had mentioned, Tilly's in the mall park area. Exhaust that before we decide, yeah, let's just do Pine Island. I think there's some possibilities, or maybe by Gas and Go.
So put feelers out everywhere at the same time.
You know what I was thinking too, along with that, when you were mentioning places I didn't, but if you go to Casey's, they're trying to sell that lot. It's the end of Casey's. Coming off of 52, there's for sale signs there. That's kept pretty clean and good through that. There's a little cul-de-sac that's there, and there's also a vacant lot that's across the street from Casey's. So if it came to parking, as you were looking at some other stuff, I mean, there's some things that came to mind after we were.
So maybe, but then we need, if we're going to go that route, which I think is a good idea, we're gonna each individually have to like take an area of town.
Mhm.
And then we need to work on contacting the person that owns that property and asking them.
Yeah.
So like,
Carl,
I'll go to
yeah.
Pine Island, so then who's willing, you know what I mean? Like, we've got to figure that out tonight. Who's willing to look at other places? So you'll look at
I can look
the,
at the lot by Gas and Go.
okay,
I can try to see who owns the land that's over by Casey's and talk to them and see if I can figure that one out, because that would be, at least it's mowed down and it's flat and.
well,
would
this, so
be-
the city clerk, you should be able to figure out who owns that fairly easily.
Okay, I'll go down, check with them.
Yeah. And same with the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I,
well,
And
that
if
If
wildlife.
it's Tom, then it's Tom Gauthier that owns the
Yeah.
land by
Gas and Go.
Gas and Go.
and I think he might own the Casey side of things too.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you might overwrite next.
But you know that guy that just opened a business just south of Gas and Go that makes outdoor game calls, wildlife calls, deer calls.
You mean Casey's?
What did I say?
Yes.
Gas and Go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's Casey's.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say,
But,
I don't
you
know
know,
any place
On
I'm
this
gonna
side
find.
of the
Yeah.
camper world,
Yeah.
but on the other side of Casey's. And he owns a great big outlying lot too, that's all paved.
I didn't know he made,
He rents out
Uh,
space
animal
for
calls.
storage, but there's nothing there but a camper and a couple boats most of the time. So like you said, if we could find a kind of that
Yeah.
whole
Again,
little
it's
corner.
just looking right now to see what options we have.
Yeah.
Because if Pine Island falls through, we've got to jump pretty quick at what we're gonna be doing here.
And it would be nice, like you said, to keep it in our area.
Mhm.
Is
So
it
we're
the-
wanting to check this first before we check with Pine Island, or we're wanting to
think
check
do it
all
all
this out
together.
at
I
the
think
same
all this,
time,
I
'cause,
think
Bring it back, I mean, bring it, and then, well, what maybe we can do is we can, what if we decide, each of us, we find out our information, we send it to Joanne, because Joanne's, like, we don't have to worry about, and then Joanne can then send it blind CC to everybody, and then I think what we need to decide is like, do we need to have a special meeting before our next meeting in March? Or can it wait?
Yeah. I know a comment that goes back to Carol when I talked about expanding out of the downtown area a little bit. And having the car show maybe overflow to the north of, I call it Cemetery Road, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But she said our blanket policy, insurance-wise, only covered the historic downtown area.
But that's what we purchased.
We can
Correct.
You
change,
can change
Yeah.
the blanket insurance
Okay, I
policy.
just wanted to
Yeah,
throw that
so
out
that,
there.
yeah, that's, you just call your insurance agent and say, I want a blanket insurance policy to cover X, Y, and Z, and that's what happens, so.
and they've been really easy to work with like the 5K and everything, so I think
Okay,
they'd be the
good.
same, but yeah,
Good
that's a
to know.
good.
Mhm.
But if we say we're gonna have downtown Orinoco Gold Rush in Pine Island.
I
this
know,
year,
and that's
Their
a
heads
whole,
are gonna explode.
yeah, that's a whole discussion that needs to be, there's a
Yeah.
lot that. But yeah, so, okay, so Corey's gonna check in the Gas and Go area, Jim's gonna check around the Casey's,
And I'll see if I can't find out
Area.
across the street too, to see if that other
Mhm.
lot might be available too.
and then what's the business that what is the business?
Illusion game calls, I think it's called.
Well, I'll stop by there and talk.
Yeah, I like that name.
Illusion, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
for game
he's a
calls.
local guy, so.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, that sounds good. So if we just email your findings to Joanne and then
Okay.
as soon as possible.
If anybody thinks of anything else, I could
Yep.
Meantime, we'll just
Yes.
email it to
Perfect.
All right.
All right, need a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.
Adjourn.
I completely forgot about.
Yay, I mean,
Corey?
No, I need a motion.
I can't motion, I'm not city council.
No, you can too.
Oh,
You're
I
part of,
can.
yeah. I just made, you just made it.
What's the terminology? I approve.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Corey.
Oh, good job. All
That's
in
a lot of
favor?
stuff.
What time is it? 7:45?
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned, 7:45. Good job.
Okay, I'm gonna.